Just 3 weeks ago, I stood on this exact spot to record the review that you're about to watch. Now, for those of you who know, the brand that makes this car no longer exists. They imploded in the most spectacular death of a Chinese car brand that we've ever seen. Many Chinese car brands come and go. Some of them die over a long period of time. This happened almost overnight, literally about 2 days after I handed the car back to the company. And whether that's because a ginger was seen in their car and it destroyed their brand value overnight, that's entirely possible. But nevertheless, this car deserved a review. It's probably going to be the last ever review of this car and of this brand. And yeah, enjoy. Rest in peace, Jiyue. People say that Chinese cars all look exactly the same. Well, if that's the case, then they must all look absolutely stunning. This is Inside China Auto, and this is the Jiyue 07. Yes, this is the Jiyue 07, an absolutely drop-dead gorgeous car. Possibly the most beautiful car to ever come out of China. I can assure you, there are no bad angles of this car. No matter where you look from, it just looks pure stunning. It's the handiwork of Jiyue chief designer Frank Wu, the same guy who designed the Robo X, which we did a video of up in the top corner. Now, if you haven't seen that video, let me explain to you who Jiyue is. Jiyue is a joint venture between Baidu, essentially China's Google, but they do much more than search engines, and Geely, one of China's largest car manufacturers. And it's that Geely tie-up that gives this car the platform that it sits on. It sits on the same SEA platform as every Zeekr, every smart car, a few Geelys, Volvos and Polestars as well. Now, it looks like a four-door saloon, but it's actually not. It's actually a five-door hatchback. So even though it's got these super sexy curves, big rear haunches here, it's actually fairly practical at the same time. Now, a few interesting features about this car. Notice we have no door handles, front and rear. This car has electronic doors, which open like that. And of course, you can close them electronically as well, which is really quite cool. Bear in mind, if this car does get sold abroad, that won't be the case. They're going to have to ruin this sexy design with some pop-out door handles or something because they're not legal in other countries. Notice also the frameless glass, because this car looks a little bit like a coupe. So just to enhance the coupe look, it's got frameless windows. Other interesting features, check out the embedded camera here in the B-pillar, camera under the mirror, camera here, blue light down there just behind the front wheel, cameras at the top of the windscreen, and a sensor pack down here just beneath yet another blue light. Why is that? Because this car comes with ASD, or Apollo self-driving. Baidu, the guys I mentioned at the start, they have robo-taxis driving around some Chinese cities with no drivers inside them, and that tech is inside the 07. So this car can drive autonomously on urban roads, in the cities, and on the highways as well. And apparently it's won some awards in several cities across China. Now notice, there are no LiDAR units. This is a vision-only base system, just like the Xpeng P7 Plus, and like Tesla's. There's a few Tesla things I'll mention in this video. A few interesting things about the design. Do like these pixels here at the top. You get pixel lights down there too. They light up when you're driving. Also your indicators down there. Got daytime running light across this very sexy front end. Bear in mind, this car has an aerodynamic drag coefficient of just 0.198, so it does glide through the air very, very nicely, helped by the active grille down there at the bottom. Under this big bonnet, it does look like we've got a frunk in there, but we haven't, at least on the dual motor version of this car. In fact, to get in, you have to pull a handle just here inside the wheel arch. But I believe on the single motor version of this car, you might get a frunk and it should be a lot easier to get in there. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. The clamshell bonnet, you can see down here along the side. One final thing to point out, we do get 20-inch alloys on our car with Aero Shield on, nice little detail on there. You can get 19-inch alloys in the base versions, other 20-inch alloys are available, and you get Brembo 4-pot brake calipers in there as well on this, the performance version of the car. At the back, the 07 gets even sexier still. I mean, just check out that profile. It's absolutely amazing. I love this car. This is what they call the Venus curve, this gently sloping line down from the roof to the tail here. Looks really nice, combined with these super wide arches, big, sexy, very sculpted, gives it a big wide stance, makes it feel very planted on the road. We get here what Jiyue call an aero stabilizer, literally written under there. They like to give techie funny names to interesting things all over the car. Aero stabilizer being one. It is of course a spoiler. That'll give you more downforce if you need it at high speed. We do have a full width daytime running light across the back here. Nice stylish details in the top there, give it a bit more depth, a bit more interest. And then these pixelated tail lamps down there, also really, really cool. Inside the back, we've got a load of space under this electronic boot lid. Don't know exactly how much space, but it's a lot. You can fit really a lot of stuff in here, and it's got even more space under the boot there, about 80 to 100 litres, I would say, in the space under the floor. You can fold the rear seats down, 40-60 as well if you want to. I had to move my family from one city to another in this car, and I can attest it's very practical. I'll show you a picture of exactly how much stuff we rammed in there before I even realised we had space under the boot floor. You also get your base unit in there and your 12V socket there as well. So it's a very, very stylish car, this. You'll see also we've got a camera on the top of the boot lid and the blue light down here, again, to support that autonomous driving system. In the interior, there's really only one place to start, and that is with this yoke steering wheel, which honestly I really don't like. I mentioned on the outside the hidden B-pillar cameras and the vision-only ADAS system. There's a few more Tesla references inside. The yoke steering wheel is the most obvious one, and that is because it's just not very functional. So you often, when you're driving the car with your hands up here, press the wipers or press the indicators and the steering wheel's upside down. And it's like, oh, what have I just pressed and what direction have I pressed it in? It's really annoying. Honestly, please just bring the stalks back or find a better way. Having the stalks is better in a car. It's not that great for driving either, but I'll come on to that in the driving section. So as well as the indicators on there and the yoke steering wheel, we have our drive selector, and that is on this massive screen, 35.6 inches from side to side, not quite as big as the 40 inches in the Galaxy E8 that we drove at about the same time last year, but nevertheless, very big and bold. Some people don't like this, I actually do. But the reason for the yoke steering wheel is because it doesn't cover the screen, because we don't get a head-up display on this car. So this section here is for your driving functions. This section's for your main central screen functions. That section is for watching films, for TV, and even playing video games. You can plug in a Bluetooth controller. There's something like 58 games you can play in there. And if you're charging, you can play games on the whole screen. I'll show you that at the end of this section. But it's a good screen, a lot of functionality in here. It does come with Samo, the AI assistant of Jiyue. So these backgrounds over here that you can flick through, these are all generated by AI. You can talk to her. She uses the large language model, so you can say things naturally, like, hey, Samo, I'm cold, and she'll put your heated seat on or make the car warmer. So you can talk to her in that way. She can control functions around the car. She can be a tour guide. All the cool stuff that you can get. She's basically run by what they call ErnieBot, which is Baidu's special AI model. That's all embedded in there, another feature of the Baidu partnership. A lot of interesting features in here, one of which is you can of course control your steering and your mirrors as well, because of course no buttons in this cabin. You can open your charge port, you can open your glove box over here. Another interesting feature, if I come out of that, let's go into this one here, click on our car. In here, you can actually change the model of the car. So let's say you get your car wrapped in a different color. You can change it on there. You can change the color. Let's go for this kind of a turquoisey green there. You can change the alloy wheels as well. If you want to, pick a different set of wheels. So you can basically remodel this little model inside the car here, which is cool. And of course, you can open all of those electronic doors as well. Other features, you can control all of your other kind of suspension, regeneration, things like that. And of course, you get your automatic parking in there as well. Just a lot of stuff going on, and it's a very good screen. Now, elsewhere in the cabin, we have 16 speakers. So they're all over. You can see 3 of them up there on the dashboard. The 2 on the outside here, these are really quite cool because when they turn on, they pop up and they've got kind of ambient lighting inside, which looks really quite cool. They're all over the car. Good sound system, quite meaty. At least 16 speakers. You also get 2 of them here in your seat as well to give you kind of sat-nav instructions and things like that. Of course, it comes with the autonomous driving function, which I'll talk about in the driving section. Those features can also come through here as well. In terms of the overall feel of the interior, well, we've got a lot of nice materials. It does feel very high quality in here. Got spongy stuff on top of the dashboard. You've got this big plastic section around the middle here, but it's not gloss black plastic. It comes with kind of a moon rock pattern on it. So it does feel quite premium. It looks quite good. Then you've got microfiber all across the middle and on the roof lining as well. And you've got leather on your pockets, leather on your doors, rubber at the back, like ribbed rubber for your ambient lighting, and then felt inside the pocket. So everything feels really good. The only plastic is really right down there. Everything else is really nice. You get good storage options in your door. You've got a good deep pocket here. So instead of having a hole under the dash, they've gone for the deep pocket. You've got 2 cup holders. You can slide those out of the way if you want to as well. Pop them back out, and you can, of course, cover this section over as well. You get a little bit of space in here with a pair of USB-C sockets. You also get your glove box, which you activate via the screen. We've got twin wireless chargers, 50-watt wireless chargers, which is good. You can charge 2 phones at the same time. And then, of course, we have our seats. These are all kind of one-piece seats, very stylish, very good-looking, big chunky side bolsters, so they're quite supportive. I think they're both 12-way adjustable here, so you can get your tilt angle adjustment. You don't get base cushion extension, but you do get decent tilt angle adjustment. Even on the lowest setting, they do feel a little bit higher up in the car than in some, but it's not too bad. And the cabin does feel quite high, so you do feel a little bit cocooned when you're in here, which I do like. Obviously, you've got your electric door release buttons there as well. These 2 front seats, by the way, come with heating, ventilation and massage functions in there. So you've got all the usual creature comforts of a Chinese car. And of course, we have this massive panoramic roof. I don't know the exact size of it, but it goes all the way back. Only downside is it doesn't come with a sun blind. But everything really nice in here. You can get it in black, white or purple. I'd probably go for the white myself because I do like uplifting interiors. But even in black, it actually does look quite good. And of course, we do get ambient lighting in a strip all the way around there and into the doors. Looks really good. Also goes around this armrest section in the middle as well. It's a really cool interior. In the back, a little bit compromised. Let's have a look. Hey, hope you're enjoying the video so far. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this in your timeline, don't forget to press that subscribe button down there. We've got loads more cars coming from China. And if you want more news about the Chinese car industry, check out InsideChinaAuto.com. Back to the video. Back here, it's fair to say that you don't really get as much space as you do in the front. With the front seat there, as low as it goes, a bit tight on toe room. So the base cushion is quite low, so you don't really get full thigh support either. You do have to be sat quite low in this car because of that sexy roof. You can see even the top of the seats here, very close to the beam, just behind you. And headroom is a little bit tight. My hair's almost touching the glass there. Doesn't feel that tight because of the big panoramic roof, but nevertheless, it is a bit smaller. But on the other hand, you do get good knee room, so no problems there. And the seats are quite indented, so it's fairly comfortable as well to sit in. You see on the back of the front seats, we get a really kind of nice foam material, so it's not plastic on the back like on a Tesla, and this cool dark chrome section in the middle as well. But again, all the same good materials in the back. You also get some useful features. So in the armrest here, you get a pair of cup holders in case you need those. You've also got about 7 or 8 inch screen down here. Here you can control the music, skip through songs, change the source, change the volume. You've also got tri-zone climate control in this car as standard, so you can change the ventilation and the temperature here in the back seats. And you do get heating and ventilation on the 2 outer seats as well, on the higher versions, the more kind of highly spec'd versions of this car. So neat little screen down there. You can also change the brightness of that as well. And you do get these 2 USB-C sockets, which they've neatly called booster charger, which I did mention that they have this kind of sci-fi space age names for things. We do also get, of course, our Isofix mountings. This is the way to do them. Plastic socket, plastic lid, pop it open. Really easy access to the mounting there. That's the best way to do it. It is a bit low, this car, so it might not be that easy to get your seat through the door in the first place, but at least they've made that part easy, which is great. Apart from that, of course, you can talk to Samo in the back as well. And of course, now let me show you the video game in the front. Now, as I mentioned, there's also a game function in here as well. So we'll click on this button here. Go onto our Horizon Journey 9, I think it's called, this game. Let's put it into full screen mode so we can basically blow this up all over the screen there. Game will load. Now, you may remember, if you've seen our Geely Galaxy E8 video, that car had the same gaming functions as well. The difference with this one, and I'm just going to pick a track here and pick let's go for the Bugatti on there. Let's press go. Now the cool thing about this one that you couldn't do in the E8 is use the steering wheel and pedals to play the game. So the great thing about this one is that's what you can do. So once the game's loaded, I'm going to show you a very quick brief clip of how to play the game. I'll fast forward this section to make it faster. Okay, so here we are now. The game has started and I'm now going to control the steering. So this one doesn't have an acceleration, it's only got brakes, so the car will drive anyway. And you see now, you can drive the car like this. You can get a bit of a boost with your steering wheel there. And this is really quite cool. So if you're getting bored and you're trying to charge the car, And the car charges fairly quick, we'll come on to that later. You can play this game instead and have a good time. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So there's also plenty of other games in here, but this is the one that I would play, of course, a racing game, even though it's not that realistic, but it's interesting. You can plough that tram out the way there, do a nice flip through the air. So it's really quite fun, this game. Put your boost on. You can do drifting as well on this, by the way. You can drift around the corner like that. There you go, so you just get a bit of drift on by holding that button on the side. Not sure what the buttons on the left do though. There you go. But we're into first place now. So I'm not going to waste time on that. But again, cool feature that you can do on the game. You can pause that and then come out of the game if you want to, come back to your main menu on there. So again, really cool stuff. Here's all the other stuff you can play. Some games you might recognize, even more in the App Store over there. That's quite good, isn't it? And for the driving section of this video, I'm going to start from a standstill to show you about the drive selector. So put your foot on the brake, the drive selector appears on the screen. And to go forwards, you move the car up. To go backwards, you move it down. This feels a bit counterintuitive to me because if you have a drive selector, you pull it down for drive, put it up into reverse. This feels like the opposite way around. And unfortunately, you can't change it. So that's why I don't like the screen drive selector on this car. But since we're at a standstill, let's test out the acceleration of this car. Floor it, and it will get to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.7 seconds. So it is very, very quick off the line. And if you get the performance version of this car, it will do the same sprint in 3.5 seconds. Not quite as quick as a Zeekr 007 or a Xiaomi SU7, but nevertheless very fast. The single motor version of this car, and you can get it with two different battery sizes, comes with a 200 kilowatt motor on the back, 343 Newton meters of torque. The dual motor version that we've got comes with a pair of those, so one on the back and one on the front. And the performance version of this car comes with a 230 kilowatt motor on the front and a 300 kilowatt motor on the back. So really quite powerful. And that one is very fast. And you know what? This is actually one of the best handling Chinese cars that I've driven. It actually feels really sporty. The handling, just turn the indicators on, the handling is excellent. It feels really composed, feels very tight, good direct steering, stays very, very flat. I've talked a lot about the SEA platform cars and how good they are. I think this is the best one. It's actually the only other really sporty driving car in China alongside the Xiaomi SU7. It's just a real pleasure to drive. It feels nailed on. The acceleration feels really crisp. It's rapid. And then the steering has got good weight to it and really good feel as well. The only thing it is let down by is this steering wheel, because this is a steering wheel for leisurely driving. In speedy driving situations, you'll have your thumbs through the wheel, a good grip, and you can make easy decisions. This, because your hands rest on top of these little nubbins here, is not a secure steering position. The only way to secure it is to hold it down here, and that's an unnatural way to drive. So please, Frank Wu, let's go for the form follows function, as you said, and give us a functional steering wheel that actually embraces the fact that this is quite a sporty car to drive. As I said, one of the most sporty ones in China. Very enjoyable handling. The ride quality is good, as it is on all SEA platform cars, to be honest with you. It stays very pliant when you're changing speed quickly, and it just overall just feels very, very balanced. It doesn't come with air suspension, but it does come with kind of anti-vibration dampers, which do a really good job on all surfaces and a good job with speed bumps as well. It's probably one of the most pleasurable cars to drive from China that I've driven. That's what I really, really like about it. The only thing, just the steering wheel. Now, batteries. You can get the single motor version with a 71.4 kilowatt hour battery. That's an LFP battery, I believe, for 660 kilometers of range. Put the large battery, which is a 100 kilowatt NMC battery from CATL, the Kirin battery, on the single motor version, up to 880 kilometers of range. You also get that same battery in this one, the dual motor version of the car. And if you get the performance version of the car, you get a 91.4 kilowatt hour battery. Not sure on the chemistry of that one. That will get you also 770 kilometers of range. So 770 on both of the dual motor versions of the car. Now this one should get 14.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I did a massive road trip in this car, 1,500 kilometers on the highway. I was more at 20, 21, 22, at highway driving speeds, so not even close really to the 14, so it's not the most efficient car. If I look at the last 100 or so kilometers that I've been driving today, let's check it on the system here. 125 kilometers today, 18.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So better, closer to the number, still fairly high, but you know, it's a bit of a trade-off because you get more performance from this car. Do you get 770 kilometers of range? Definitely not. It is of course CLTC, which is, you know, not the most representative, but it's not terrible. I would say that it's just not really as close to the number as I would hope that it would be. In terms of prices, the base version with the smaller battery comes with, starts at 209,900 RMB. Add the larger battery, 229,900. This dual motor version, 289,900. And the full performance version with more power, 299,000 RMB. That stacks up pretty well against the Zeekr 007. And in terms of what you get, I would say probably about worth it actually. Because of course the other thing that you get is the ASD autonomous driving system. And I did want to do a video of that in a downtown setting, because this car is an award winner in downtown settings in Shanghai, Beijing, and 2 other cities as being the best autonomous driving system. I've got to use it on quite a wide variety of roads, I would say. On the highway, absolutely brilliant. Very stably within the lane, makes good advanced decisions, so when there's a car in front it will pull out early so you don't compromise your speed. It does suffer from the same problems that most autonomous drive systems suffer from, in that it doesn't really do a full perception. So sometimes it'll make a lane change that might not be the best in the overall scheme of things, but as I said, the normal lane changing is pretty good. It's also very good at transitioning between highways. The only downside is it will do the speed limit on those, which is often a bit slower than what most people really would do naturally when they're transitioning from highway to highway. So sometimes it will go as low as 40 kilometers per hour, which will annoy other people around you, but that is legally what you're supposed to do, just nobody does. And yeah, in an urban setting, also pretty good. Good perception, it is safe, it does lane transitions really well. Honestly, on the whole, a really good system, but I would like to test it in detail, do a proper video of this, and hopefully next year I can do that and compare it to, you know, Zeekr's system, which we haven't tried yet. Also try it with Xiaomi's system, which we didn't try yet. And of course, stay up to date with Xpeng, Neo, Li Auto, and the Huawei systems, which are all gonna no doubt be updated going forwards. So, very good system overall, really good car to drive, great platform. Only downside really for me is the steering wheel, which kind of lets things down a little bit, but very, very pleasurable car to drive. So that's it for our review of the Jiyue 07, a staggeringly beautiful car that, you know what, after the Zeekr Mix of course, might just be my favorite Chinese car of all. It's achingly gorgeous to look at. It's got a brilliant driving experience, very refined, very dynamic, really balanced, and a good amount of power. Apart from that rubbish steering wheel, of course. But the interior, very high quality materials, a lot of high tech in there, a bit tight in the rear seats, but the rear hatchback is very practical. And of course, this car comes with one of the best autonomous drive systems in China as well. If I was a single man and not a family guy, I think this would be the car that I would go for. In all honesty, I like it that much. And you know what? I think I'd even pick it over a Xiaomi SU7. Both are brilliant cars, both are stunning to look at. But I think this one handles all of that power in a much more composed way than the Xiaomi. It does feel more balanced and much more manageable. So I personal choice is that I would pick this one. And I hope that more people check out this car, because right now, not enough people are checking it out. I think it's a really, really fantastic car. Bit of a hidden gem in the Chinese car industry. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you do, thank you for subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so more people can see the great cars, in the case of this one, that hopefully coming out of China. And as ever, catch you next time.